Megan Rapinoe, world-renowned soccer player who is an activist both on and off the pitch. Megan was born July 5, 1985. She was a twin. She and her twin sister were the youngest of 5. At 3 years old, she and her twin began playing soccer, following in their brother's footsteps. Their brother was 5 years older and had dreams of going pro as well. Unfortunately, due to drug abuse, he couldn't continue his career. Her father played a major role in why she became who she is today. He pushed both sisters on and off the pitch to become better players, and he was their coach up until high school. Megan was a very talented player to begin with, but she was also very dedicated to the sport. She performed on the Northern California State ODP, or Olympic Development Program, team in 1999, and also for the regional team in the same program in 2002. After this, she went to the University of Portland with her sister to play Division I soccer. And it wasn't long before she was called up to the U.S. women's national team in 2006. She debuted in a friendly match against the Irish women's team on July 23rd, but it wasn't until October 1st when she scored her first international goal against Taiwan.
Okay, don't celebrate too much. Go back to the line. Kind of one of those ones.
Well, Rapinoe just scored her first international goal, too. For you, Christine, it's got to be good to see the younger kids all getting their first goal.
As Megan started gaining more followers, she became more of an activist. With every achievement and trophy won, her following got progressively larger. Speaking of trophies, she has acquired several very prestigious and impressive awards over the years. She is a 2-time World Cup winner, and if your team even makes it to the final few games of the World Cup, you're already a super big deal. If you score the most goals overall in a World Cup, you are given the Golden Boot. She was given this in 2019, along with the Golden Ball, or the best player of the tournament. She has also been named National Women's Soccer League, or NWSL Player of the Week 6 times in her career. She has been included in the 2019 FIFA Pro World 11 and 2019 IFF HS Women's World Team. Simply put, in 2019 she was of the best 11 women players in the world. In fact, she was named FIFA Best Women's Player of the Year in 2019. 2019 was really Rapinoe's year to shine, wasn't it? With her growing number of followers, she has used and is using the influence she has to advocate for equal pay, LGBTQ+ rights, and Black Lives Matter. Remember back in 2016 when Colin Kaepernick took a knee for the national anthem? Soon after, Megan Rapinoe also knelt to protest police violence in the United States. When asked if she regretted kneeling, she said no, but there were some repercussions after this. She felt like she didn't play much in the next 2017 season, representing the U.S. The coaches say it was because she was coming off an injury from a previous game, but Rapinoe thinks it may have been an excuse for her kneeling during the anthem. Since then, most of the women's national team has knelt for the anthem, but this year they stopped and stood. They did this because it was a way to bring attention to police brutality. USA women's team player named Crystal Dunn said, "Moving forward, we no longer feel the need to kneel, because we are doing the work behind the scenes. We are combating systematic racism." So Rapinoe and the team have moved on to combating systematic racism in other ways. Megan Rapinoe grew up in Redding, California. Her mother often told her to stand up for what she thinks is right, but to also be open to new ideas from other people. As a college student in Portland, she realized she was gay and came out in 2012. She says that since then, she has gotten tons of comments on posts or videos saying things like, "You've helped me, my daughter, my other family members so much. Thank you." Megan and her fiancé, Sue Bird, a professional basketball player, are one of the few publicly gay couples in U.S. professional sports. There are 0 publicly gay male couples in the 4 major American sports today. In this next video clip, you will see Rapinoe's thoughts on the possibly closeted players playing in England.
I wonder, what would your message be to any players who feel that they're not able to be open about their sexuality?
It's so hard. The leagues and the organizations and the team need to do a much better job of setting that environment and setting that precedent prior to the player coming out, because clearly they don't feel comfortable coming out. They're not feeling safe or secure in that.
As you can see, Rapinoe believes that the clubs and teams need to be much more open to members of the LGBTQ community, which is true for most sports. But luckily for her, the people she surrounded herself with when she came out were very supportive and made everything so easy for her, and because of this, she feels very fortunate. Moving on, possibly one of the most controversial topics in recent sports history is gender equality, more specifically, equal pay. Back in 2016, Rapinoe and 4 other U.S. women's players filed a charge of wage discrimination against the U.S. Soccer Federation. The U.S. Soccer Federation did change the way they paid female athletes after 2016, but it still wasn't equal. There is still a large wage gap between men and women in higher and lower level tournaments. Female soccer players were getting paid 38 cents in relative to the males' $1. Rapinoe and the majority of the players on the national women's team have again filed a lawsuit in 2019 for the same reasons, but it has since been dismissed. The women were playing more games and, according to the Washington Post, were bringing in more revenue. Rapinoe says they are putting in more work and are playing better than the men's team, so they should at least be paid equally. Rapinoe, to this day, is still fighting for equal pay between males and females. She has even had meetings with President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris on this topic. Megan Rapinoe is not only a role model for young soccer players all over the world, but also for members of the LGBTQ community and an advocate for gender equality, racial equality, and equal pay. She and the U.S. women's team are elevating the sport of soccer, Black Lives Matter, and gender equality nationally and internationally, and will continue doing so in their dominant reign over the beautiful game.